Hey, welcome back to Well, That's Interesting, the oh great, even more kooky experiments edition. Today is episode 246, finally, a study with harbor seals playing video games, and another study with fruit flies on cocaine. Here's why all this matters. My friends, if you joined us last week for episode 245, then you know just how fascinating vampire bats really are, and how waiting a century for tar to drip from a funnel can leave you on the edge of your seat. If you haven't had a listen, then I have great news. After this episode, you have the opportunity to scroll back just a bit, to hit play, and douse yourself with joy. And that joy comes in the form of bats swaddled in white blankies being nursed with cow blood, and a man spending 60 years or so hoping to catch a viscous liquid fall from a tube. Not to spoil anything, but the bat thing is actually kind of adorable, and that guy never does. For hilarious reasons. Today, in the first half of the show, we are moving on from bats to chubmarines. And by chubmarines, I mean harbor seals. A very special shout out to marine wildlife photographer Carl Ramsdell for bringing this term to my attention and making my own life even better for it. Carl, I'm talking to you directly. I don't know if you coined chubmarine, but even if you didn't, thank you. Thank you for using the word with abandon on your social media posts. Now, back to the chubs and some quick introductory facts about them. Let's start with their luscious bodies, which can be found in the waters of Alaska down to Baja California and Mexico, along the European coast from Finland to Portugal, and the coast of Ireland. According to fisheries.noaa.gov, when relaxing along those coasts, be it on a rock, beach, or floating ice off a glacial fjord, they prop their heads and rear flippers in an elevated banana-like position. And if you think it can't possibly get any cuter with chubmarine and this description, fucking brace yourself. The act of a harbor seal relaxing on land is called hauling out. And they haul out on land between 7 and 12 hours each day to maintain their body temperature and molt. I swear to God, there's no reason why you yourself can't use this term to explain your own relaxation plans. The next time someone asks you what you're going to be doing this weekend, tell them that this chubmarine will be hauling out on the couch, or porch, or wherever. It doesn't matter. You're going to be doing it for hours. Anyway, when these seals aren't hauling, they are masterfully swimming. Get this. To prepare before diving, a harbor seal's heart rate can slow down to as few as 3 to 4 beats per minute. And when they're ready, they slip into the ocean and can dive to depths of over 1,400 feet or 446 meters. And they can remain there up to 28 minutes. My friends, 1,400 goddamn feet falls within the lower portion of what's called the mesopelagic zone. And that's a fancy way of saying the twilight zone. At this depth, sunlight penetration is extremely limited, resulting in a perpetually dim environment. Not only is the light scarce, but these seals hunt in waters off coastlines, which mean they're kind of on the murky side. So how do they do it? Yes, their sense of hearing is 14 times better underwater than humans, and their dexterous sensitive whiskers are basically a twofer, not only helping them feel their surroundings, but they also help detect sound waves. But there has to be more to it. Enter Friederike Hanke, co-author of the study we're about to dive into ourselves and neuroethologist at the University of Rostock in Germany. She and her team came up with an ingenious and, dare I say, precious way to test whether seals also rely on visual cues in the water to figure out what direction they're going. Not only will we learn more fun facts about chubmarines, we will get into the team's experiment, which includes 3 seals and 1 video game console customized for one floofy gamer at a time. We will look at what they looked at on the screen. And after a few rounds, we will see just how well seals see under the sea. Yeah. Then after the break, we humans have so much more in common with fruit flies than you think. Sure, we can be annoying and difficult to kill, but we also share around 70 to 75% of the same genes responsible for various diseases, as well as many of the same vital organs. Pair this amazing biological fact with their rapid reproduction and short life cycle, you get a little creature that's a big deal. Researchers can track mutations or the effects of treatments across multiple generations, enabling us to study things much faster than would be possible in humans. In sum, scientists have relied on these insects for genetic studies for years. Studies including the biological roots of addiction, such as cocaine abuse. But, and there's a big but here, there's a gigantic problem. Fruit flies are fruit flies, not cocaine flies. They refuse to ingest the stuff. So how do you peer pressure a fruit fly into doing a bump? I mean, can you even do that? And if successful, what does this reveal about cocaine abuse in humans? We will get into the study that involves tweaking flies just a bit, no pun intended, and how that genetic change may lead to prescription medicine in the future. In the meantime, hi, I'm Jill Chacha, and if this is your first time listening, welcome to the flock, my pure business goose. To begin, I'm going to ask you to try your damn best not to implode with an overwhelming sense of joy as I smother you with more harbor seal facts. Let's get to know these chubs by first talking about the chub, shall we? Great. Each seal actually has its own unique pattern of spots, either dark blotches on a light background like silvery white and tan, or light spots against a dark tone such as brown and gray. One of the reasons you want to smush their damn faces are their two large eyes adapted for their amphibious lifestyle, allowing them to see both in water and on land. These eyes have a diameter of about 40 millimeters or 1.5 inches in adults, which is nearly double the size of an average human eye. Inside them, big peepers are a high number of rod cells, or photoreceptor cells that are sensitive to low light levels, just like the eyes of other pinnipeds, including walruses and sea lions. Please, put a bright pin in this. In the meantime, how can you tell seals and sea lions apart? Great question. All you have to do is take a look at their noggins. Sea lions have a visible ear flap on either side of their heads, while harbor seals have small ear openings behind their eyes, so they lack those external nubs. If you peek at their noses, you'll notice seals have distinctive V-shaped nostrils, and lions have a triangular button that you just want to boop. Another big clue is how each move on land, sea lions can actually rotate their flippers underneath their bodies, allowing them to walk. But our chubs, they can't do that. Instead, they flop wherever they go. So yes, they flop their bodies in a similar way to the worm dance move. And I have to say, that is a lot of body to worm around. An adult is easily 6 feet long and 370 pounds, wrapped in a layer of blubber that's a good inch in thickness. To become this size of a chubmarine, you have to start off strong. And boy howdy, they certainly do. After a 9-month gestation period, yes, just as long as us humans, a single pup is born and capable of swimming and diving within hours. For 4 to 6 weeks, they're all about that teat and suckle milk that's a whopping 40 to 50% fat. And if that sounds fatty, you are absolutely right. For comparison, human milk contains just 3 to 4% fat. As such, taking this in day after day for a month, pups clock in at 35 pounds. At this point, they are ready to venture out into the world to hunt for salmon, anchovy, sea bass, herring, mackerel, cod, and the occasional shrimp, crab, mollusk, and squid. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, since harbor seals frequently congregate in harbors and bays, that water isn't so crystal clear. If you drop whatever chub you're holding right now and pick up your phone to tap on today's post at the socials, you'll find one photo of a seal hauling out in a banana shape, and past this, you'll see another taking a swim in water that's murky, at best. Well, it's time to unpin that pin from before, the one about their big old eyes containing a high concentration of rods to absorb as much light as possible. Friederike Hanke, co-author of the study we're flopping into right now, and neuroethologist at the University of Rostock in Germany, she got to thinking. In a statement to the Journal of Experimental Biology, she impressively said, quote, "We wanted to know whether harbor seals can determine their heading from optic flow fields, or the pattern of motion on the retina generated as a seal moves past visible objects, including particles in the water, in their surroundings." End quote. my friends. This is a fancy-ass way of asking, as they swim, do seals use the shit floating past them and past their eyes as a way to tell what direction they're moving? Now, if you said to yourself, oh, geez, to test this in a laboratory setting, you're gonna have to design some kind of simulation where a seal flops into a gaming console of sorts to look at a screen. And on that screen are a bunch of moving particles. And then you have to have some kind of button to press to help them tell you what direction they think they're moving. How do you even do that? If you said this, you are absolutely right. And thankfully, seals are very fish motivated. Please, drop whatever mackerel you're holding right now and pick up your phone, head on back to the old socials and tap on today's post, because you're about to see something that'll put a damn smile on your face. My equally cherubic business goose, what you're seeing is a seal hauling out on its belly, looking straight ahead at a screen. And the setup is like a little tiny private movie theater, as it's surrounded by dark panels. It also has one red button to its left and one to its right. And if you think this setup is already too cute, prepare yourself. 3 seals were recruited for this experiment: Nick, Luca, and Myro, who after shuffling into place would have the goddamn time of their lives watching particles, air quote, fly past them at varying degrees. For each round of play, the dots on the screen would be located either at the center, as though moving towards them, passing beneath them, or passing above them. And to create the illusion of movement, the angle of the dots would be moved as much as 22, 18, and 14 degrees, or as little as 10, 6, or a scant 2 degrees to the left or right. If the seal thinks it's swimming one way or the other, it would boop the corresponding red button. Now, how the fuck do you teach a seal to use a video game? Easy. You bust out their favorite snack, sprat, which is a small silver fish stuffed to the gills with sweet, sweet oil. Every time the seal would watch the screen for a few seconds and then choose a direction, it would get a sprat as a reward. And I swear to God, whatever you're looking at right now, it is dog shit compared to how Luca looks back at the researchers expecting a bite. Please do yourself a favor and head on over to the tube of you, and in the search bar, type Luca the Seal watching dots. Again, that's Luca the Seal watching dots, and a 30-second video from Popular Science will appear. If you need a delight, right the fuck now. This video will do it. I'll give you a sec. Now, if for some reason you're too damn busy for joy, I can tell you that Luca whips her head around, giving puppy dog energy eye contact to the camera, like directly into the camera, and immediately after this, she lifts her head at full 90 degrees, with her mouth in the air, just expecting a fish. It is the best. And also the best, here are some fun facts, behind-the-scene fun facts about this experiment. It turns out Nick and Luca were gaming veterans, so they picked up the game with ease. But Myro was brand new. It took him 6 times as many sessions to learn the system, but Hanka told the Journal of Experimental Biology that, quote, Myro is a very open-minded seal, so he copes with all new situations easily. Eventually, he exhibited performance equal to that of the other 2 seals when determining the heading in the experiments. End quote. Well, fuck. Well done, Myro. Oh, speaking of which, after all the dots were watched and all the boops were made, were the seals able to correctly determine which direction they were, air quotes, swimming? Drumroll, please. Thank you in the back. Quote, when the team plotted the seal's successes, it was clear that the animals were perfectly capable of determining which direction they were traveling in based simply on the dots streaming in their view, exactly as the cloudy water, seabed, or water surface would appear to move when they are swimming. The team found that the seals could determine the headings with quite a good degree of accuracy, though they were not as good as humans or rhesus macaques at doing so. End quote, from the Journal and Holly Large of IFL Science. Now, hey, that's pretty amazing. Give them a round of applause. Yeah, but you know what? It's not as amazing as to why, on the rare occasion, they got some directions wrong, despite their magnificent eyes. As explained by Hanka, quote, these are living animals, not robots. Errors are mostly due to inattentiveness or sometimes a drop in motivation. End quote. So, I get it. I totally feel you, Nick, Luca, and Myro. That is so relatable. I need a lot of sprat to get into anything nowadays. Just, God. After the break, we are leaving Chubmarines for the tiny but mighty fruit fly. And we're swapping video games for something a little more intense. Cocaine. It'll all make sense in a minute. Please, stay tuned.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Summer's here, bringing sunshine, road trips, beach days, and sweat. Without the right underwear, things get uncomfortable fast. That's where MeUndies comes in. Made with unbelievably soft, breathable, micromodal fabric, MeUndies helps you stay cool, even when the temperature's not. From briefs to boxers, cheeky cuts to bralettes, MeUndies has it all. To score sizzling summer deals like up to 50% off, go to MeUndies.com/Spotify and enter promo code Spotify.
And we're back. We are so back. And my friends, I'm going to need you to sit the fuck down and to strap yourselves in, because we're about to get wild with fruit flies. And by wild, I mean snort more amazing facts about them than your body can handle. And then we're going to try and make them eat some cocaine too. Let's get into it. According to a 2021 study published in the journal Current Biology, unlike humans, the sex and physical appearance of fruit flies is not influenced by hormones. These are strictly influenced by only genetic information. If those genes are female, then that fly will have a body that's up to 30% larger than an adult male. And speaking of adults, the time from an egg to adult only takes about 7 to 10 days, with those adults living for an additional scant 40 to 50 days. When you pair this with the fact 70 to 75% of their 14,000 genes have a close counterpart in humans, they make a valuable model organism for studying basic biology and disease. They have been and are being used for cancer, cancer treatment, diabetes, and Alzheimer's research. They've been used to study the genetic mechanisms behind tissue damage and regeneration. Several goddamn Nobel Prize-winning discoveries have been made using fruit flies, including that one time they were used to study the development of the nervous system and the role of certain genes in neurogenesis and neural migration, you know the one. Let's give these little fuckers, a round of applause. Thank you. With all this in mind, it's no surprise Adrian Rothenfla, PhD, and Associate Professor of Psychiatry at the University of Utah, his associate, the wonderfully named Pearl Cummings-Beebe, and Travis Filyaw, PhD, and first author of the paper we're about to reveal, it's no surprise that they cannot quit them. And they just can't quit cocaine. But not in the way you think. As reported by the University of Utah Health Sciences June press release, quote, heredity strongly impacts the risk of developing cocaine use disorder, but the large number of genes implicated in addiction risk has made it difficult to determine which might be the best targets for therapeutics, end quote. So, the team got to thinking, maybe, just maybe, by using our friends here, they'd be able to reveal the biology of addiction and find better therapies faster than was previously possible. Let's start with the good news. In previous cases where fruit flies were administered cocaine, they acted exactly the way you'd expect. Quote, at low doses, they start running around, just like people. At very high doses, they get incapacitated, which is also true in people. End quote, the old Rothenfla said to medicalexpress.com. I also assume some of them opened restaurants as well. What I mean to say is yes, the drug has the same biological effects on these flies. So, all we have to do is analyze neurons and match them to certain genes, cuts them off, turns them on, and voila. We get them addicted, or even turn it off. Easy peasy. Right? Of course not. As Rothenfla further explained, quote, flies do not like cocaine. One bit. End quote. My innocent business goose, all those times fruit flies were on a bender, they were forced. When given the choice between sugar water and sugar water laced with cocaine, the flies chose the drug-free option over and over, even when they'd been exposed to cocaine previously. Simply put, they don't want it, and they don't get hooked. This may sound like a problem when researching addiction, but the team had a eureka moment. Instead, they could figure out why fruit flies just say no to drugs, and even better, find a way to bypass that barrier. And to start, here's something else that'll blow your mind. No pun intended. In an interview with Travis Philyaw, Travis dropped a bombshell. Quote, "Insects are evolutionary primed to avoid plant toxins, and cocaine is a plant toxin. They have taste receptors on their arms. They're tarsal segments, so they can put their hand in something before it goes in their mouth and decide, nope, I'm not going to touch that." End quote. Yeah, so now you might be thinking, well, one, that's convenient, and two, well then, what does Coke taste like to them to completely avoid it? If you ask that, you're not alone, and you're on the right track. Travis and the gang actually analyzed how the flies' sensory nerves responded to cocaine, and they found that Coke activates bitter-sensing taste receptors in the flies' tarsal segments. That bitter receptor is called GR66A, and it pops off in the presence of cocaine, so much so that flies have no interest and completely avoid the stuff. So the question is now, if we get rid of that receptor, will they actually like it? Drumroll, please. Oh, thank you in the back. As so deliciously reported by Andrew Paul of popsci.com, after confirming that cocaine activates a fruit fly's bitter-sensing taste receptors, Rothenflaw and Philyaw switched off those nerves. Once deactivated, there was little to stop the flies from developing a cocaine habit. These modified flies were subsequently introduced to sugar water infused with a low concentration of cocaine, and within 16 hours, the insects indicated a preference for the drug-laced drink. End quote. That's in 16 hours, y'all. That's incredibly quick. That is an incredibly quick timeline to develop an addiction. So what does this all mean? Well, I personally assume we're going to be getting frantic text messages from fruit flies soon, but old Rothenflaw, he said it best. Quote, "We can really start to understand the mechanisms of cocaine choice, and the more you understand about the mechanism, the more you have a chance to find a therapeutic that might act on that mechanism." End quote from the press release. So in the very near future, information on GR66A will be passed on to researchers who work with mammalian models, and then they'll be able to uncover treatments that facilitate the jump from studying animal behavior to the development of human therapies. So, just a few more steps. A few more. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I think there's something that could help these researchers work faster. And thank you for listening, rating, subscribing, telling your friends about the chub marines. Oh, please, just tell them. And then reenact how they want to get their treats after booping the red button. Oh my God. If your friends don't appreciate your interpretation of a chub marine, they're not your friend. And then tell them about cocaine and your experience with it. I mean, listening to the fruit fly situation. Anyway, and a powdery thanks over to the folks at Airwave Media, the podcast network to which WTI belongs. If you love this show, and you do, you love the other podcasts in this family. And please, stay interesting.